and then kind of give, I don't know if job description is the right word, but kind of tell us what your job description is, what what you're doing on a weekly basis in the ministry that you serve.
So good morning. It's so great to see my Crossing family. I've missed you guys. So for the past year and a half, a little over that, now I've been in Mazatlan, Mexico, serving with Youth with a Mission. And it's been just incredible to be there and to be used by God in such an amazing way. So during my time there, I've been to Chile, been serving in Mexico as well, and just sharing who God is and just loving on the people of different nations. And I am the training director for all of our school programs in Mazatlan. YWAM is worldwide. I don't know if you're familiar with YWAM, but it's a missions movement to really make God known across the world. And we're in many different nations. So in our organization in Mazatlan, we have many different people from different nations that serve with us, students that come through. I was a student myself there for 5 months last year, and then chose to go back on staff, and so it was probably really the best decision that I've made so far. Obviously, Youth with a Mission, I'm not a youth if you can't tell, and so it's been definitely a transition for me, just getting to know people and definitely become kind of a mom to all of our young people that are there. But we have families that serve with us, youth, and people that are older like myself. So it's been incredible, honestly, just to walk alongside them and what God's doing in the mission and in Mexico and getting to know Spanish. So it's been a really great, amazing opportunity for me.
The good news is most of us don't speak Spanish, so you don't have to worry about that. If you're on stage, don't bust any out. And so, yeah, if you're not familiar with YWAM, it's kind of like a crazy, condensed, like college experience, but very international. So, yeah, kids come in, they're there for, so is it 5 months? Is that the normal? And then they go out and they do mission and stuff, and then there's a whole new team, obviously. So, Chris is going to be constantly being exposed to new teams coming in and new crews. And so, tell us, maybe one or two God stories, maybe, crazy ways that God has shown up in your life or in your ministry, during this past year.
Well, obviously, I have a lot of amazing stories, and I share those a lot, like on my Facebook. So, but I think the most thing that God has really shown me the most is just really how He's so intimate with us, so personal, and He really, he just wants to have a relationship with us and communicate directly to us. So recently, we were praying in intercession for some people, a team that was in India. One of our teams, we've sent teams to India, Nepal, Greece to help with the refugees. It's been a crazy year, teams everywhere. So our team in India, we were praying for them, and God showed me this woman named Susan to pray for, and I said, well, she's definitely not Indian. That's not what I would think an Indian name would be. So we were praying for her, and God was just like, yeah, she just really needs some really deep healing, and just pray for that, because she's really a woman of influence that's going to bring many people to Christ. So I prayed for her, and I shared that with the team and said, hey, you're going to meet this woman named Susan. I have no idea who she is, but just pray for her, and I know that she's going to really be an influence in her community. So a week later, they messaged me back with a picture of Susan, and it showed me that they, it was incredible that they met this woman, and it was like, wow, God, like you really know our name. And that's what God's been really showing me, that He is a personal God, that He does know us. Last week, the same thing happened. We were praying in our city for the universities and for the teachers in our universities with the schools going back in session. And he was like, yeah, I want you to pray for Martha and Maria today. I was like, Martha is definitely not a Spanish name. I know Maria. There's probably a million Marias in this school. So we actually met both Martha and Maria and prayed for them. Prayed for both of them and their journeys. And one was Catholic, one was Christian, and it was just incredible. So God is just really showing me, honestly, that He works, and then in just amazing ways. Work with kids in the community. It's definitely a very poverty-filled community where we work, called Montebello. And this little boy, his name is Miguel, and he's like trying to jump in the van with me. Please don't go without me. And I'm like, oh, I would take you home if I could. And then we have two boys that work with us too that have been part of our community in the homework club in the past. And both of them came and did a summer summer program with us this past summer, and were baptized in the beach in front of our property. So it's just really cool to see how God is working in all the ministries and just connecting all of the different things that we're doing, and getting to see just how powerful he is, how personal he is, and just thinking back, like being here on staff and all the things he was doing here, and just taking those steps, showing me from the very first step when I went on the mission trip to Acuna, and showing me how I'm taking you back to Mexico. Are you willing to go back there? And like, yeah, I'm totally willing. And he's just really faithful.
And I know that all of us, we can look back on our lives and see ways that God has moved and set things up. I don't know if I've ever seen a stair step as much as your life, where it'd be like, Kristen Point, did this happen, and then this happened. I mean, it's just amazing how God has gotten her to where she is now. So I was going to ask you, on that, what you were learning and stuff, but you answered that very clearly for us, and what God has been teaching you through the awesome things. So the last thing is, we're going to pray for you, but before I bring up some few people, how can we be praying for you, for YWAM, for your students? I mean, how can we be lifting you up on a daily basis?
Well, for our location, we're actually going to be stepping out and starting a ships ministry. So we've received a donation for a large ship that can go to unreached locations where where airplanes and cars aren't able to go. So they're in the process of getting ready to head to Mazatlan with the ship. A family from California is coming, donating their ship, and they'll be a part of the ministry. And so we're just definitely needing prayers for that ministry. It costs a lot of money to operate a ship, and then definitely for the people to come alongside them. So they'll be doing like medical brigades, taking medical professionals to islands that are hard to reach, and just sharing the gospel with people, and just serving. We'll be building homes, doing Bible distribution. One of the main things in YWAM right now, we're really working to end Bible poverty and getting a Bible in every home. So it's something that we're really working on in Mazatlan as well. So we've already distributed to over 10% of the homes in Mazatlan just this year. And so it's really fun to go out on a Saturday morning with your backpack full of Bibles, and we just go knocking on the doors and saying, hey, do you want a free Bible? And so it's really been amazing to give people a Bible. And we've had incredible stories where people are like, yeah, I knew that you were coming. God told me someone was going to be bringing me a Bible. And we're like, what in the world? So it's really incredible to see how God is working, and just preparing. I just really believe he just wants, again, like I said, he just wants us to be in personal relationship with him, and he's just making that possible. So be praying for those two ministries. There's a lot of work to be done, and we obviously always need people, resources, and time to be able to do that. And then for me personally, of course, I have a commitment in Mexico, for those of you who don't know, of 5 years. So I just finished my first year, and it's exciting. It has its challenges, of course, living in community when you're used to living by yourself for 20 plus years, and then you go to live in community with people. So definitely be praying for that, and just relationships. And
for them or for you?
For both.
Okay.
Yeah, for both. Definitely. And then, just finances. Definitely for me, I mean, we don't receive salaries there, so we raise our own support. So definitely for those two areas.
And I would say even, you don't just have to pray for that, you can just give to Chris. So that's another way for that. So,
hey,
right now we're going to have, I don't know who's in the room, but leadership